Good morning. I want to talk to you this morning about how injuries can escalate. To do that, I want to give you a little bit of an illustration. When we think of fatal injuries, we think of crushing events or falls or electrocutions or something like that. Can a small injury escalate into a major injury or a fatality? Well, yes, it can. So I just want to use an illustration. This happened a few years ago. There was a federal agency that was investigating the death of a worker at a Savannah, Georgia recycling plant. And he died after a chain of events that began with a cut to his hand. The authorities say that the worker died on Tuesday after he had an accident when he was working on a Sunday at a metal recycling plant. He was a temp staff, and this 26-year-old cut his hand while he was stripping insulation from wire at the plant. The spokesman said that the worker then fainted at the sight of the blood, hit his head on concrete, and then was taken to the hospital. So, although this isn't really an everyday occurrence, we have to understand that these kinds of situations that seem to be relatively of little consequence can actually escalate into something that gets to be very hazardous. Even a slight injury can escalate. Things like infection are perhaps the biggest potential complication that can occur from a cut. Although typically they're not fatal. Failure to clean and to dress even the most minor laceration can lead to an infection, and the infection can ultimately become life-threatening. The key to this topic is to treat each and every injury as one that could escalate beyond the first look. If you're the first responder, if you're the foreman on the site, then have a look at what's going on. Think not just of the immediate situation, but also what can happen. How could this circumstance possibly escalate and turn into a genuinely life-threatening sort of injury? The incident that we were describing, guy cut his hand. Probably, all things being equal, should not have been that big a deal. But because he reacted the way he did, involuntarily fell, hit his head on concrete, ended up in the hospital, and subsequently died. So what I really want us to think about is how simple injuries can escalate into something far beyond what the initial situation may seem to warrant. So when you're looking at an injury, your own injury, the injury of someone else, if it seems to be a fairly minor injury, make sure and take the necessary precautions to make sure that this minor injury does not turn into a major injury or even perhaps a fatality. Thanks very much.